Good evening. George Will here. Breaking news tonight about the most tragic consequence of Harry and Meghan's decisions over the past 5 years. The impact on their children, Archie and Lilibet, who are growing up almost entirely isolated from their extended family with no relationship with their grandfather, King Charles, no contact with their uncle, Prince William, or Aunt Catherine, no connection to their cousins, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, and limited interaction with peers or stable community due to their parents' chaotic lifestyle and constant security concerns. According to sources close to Harry and people who've observed the family dynamic, Harry has been increasingly expressing concern about his children's well being and development, recognizing that the isolation he and Meghan created, initially justified as protecting the children from toxic royal family, is actually harming Archie and Lilibet in ways that may have long term consequences for their emotional health, identity formation, and ability to form healthy relationships. Tonight, we examine what life is actually like for Archie, now 5 years old, and Lilibet, now 3 years old, what developmental and behavioral concerns have emerged, why Harry is reportedly questioning the choices he and Meghan made about cutting off family contact, and whether it's too late to repair these relationships or if the damage to these children is already done. Because when your decisions about family conflict deprive your children of knowing their grandfather, their uncle, their cousins, and their heritage, that's not protecting them, that's harming them. Before we go any further, I need you to subscribe and hit that notification bell. What you're about to hear is based on information from sources who've observed the family, child development experts analyzing this situation, and Harry's own statements about wanting his children to have family relationships. This is serious discussion about children's well being, so subscribe now and let's proceed. Let's start with the basic facts about what family relationships Archie and Lilibet do and don't have, because understanding the scope of isolation is important. What family relationships they have, their parents, Harry and Meghan. Obviously, they have daily contact with their mother and father. However, sources describe a household that's often chaotic, with Meghan focused on her various projects and ventures, Harry dealing with his own mental health struggles, and both parents frequently stressed about finances and public image. Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland. She lives in Los Angeles, not far from Montecito, and reportedly sees the children regularly. She appears to be the children's primary stable grandparent figure and connection to extended family on Meghan's side. Limited peer interaction. The children reportedly attend a small private school or have private education, with very controlled peer interaction due to security concerns and Harry and Meghan's desire for privacy. What family relationships they don't have? King Charles, their grandfather. Charles has seen his grandchildren very few times, once briefly when Archie was a baby, possibly during the 2022 Platinum Jubilee visit, but no regular relationship. Charles has cancer and desperately wants to know his grandchildren, but estrangement prevents this. Prince William and Catherine, their uncle and aunt. William and Catherine have reportedly had zero contact with Archie and Lilibet since the children were infants, if at all. The brothers' estrangement means the children don't know their uncle and aunt. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, their cousins. These are their first cousins, children close to their ages who share their unusual heritage. They've never developed relationships. George, 11, Charlotte, 9, and Louis, 6, reportedly don't know Archie and Lilibet at all. Other royal family members, no relationship with other cousins, no connection to the wider Windsor family, no ties to the institution and history they're part of by birth. Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, and other maternal relatives, completely cut off due to Meghan's estrangement from her father and most of her family. So Archie and Lilibet essentially have access to three family members, their parents and their maternal grandmother. That's it. No grandparents on father's side, no aunts or uncles they actually know, no cousins to play with, no extended family gatherings. Now let's examine what child development experts say about children growing up this isolated from extended family, because there are real developmental implications. According to child psychologists and family therapists, extended family relationships serve several important developmental functions. Identity formation. Children learn who they are partly through understanding where they come from, family history, cultural heritage, family stories, and traditions. Without extended family, Children have limited context for their identity. Multiple adult role models, grandparents, aunts, uncles provide different perspectives and relationship models than just parents. Children benefit from diverse adult relationships. Emotional support system. Extended family provides backup emotional support when parents are stressed, struggling, or unavailable. Children with only parents and no extended family support have more fragile emotional safety net. Social skills development. Interacting with cousins and extended family teaches children how to navigate complex family dynamics, manage conflicts, share attention, and build relationships. Resilience and stability. When parents have problems, financial stress, marital conflict, mental health struggles, extended family can provide stability and continuity for children. For Archie and Lilibet specifically, the isolation has unique implications. They're royalty by birth, but have no connection to what that means. They don't know their grandfather, the king. They don't understand their heritage. They don't experience the institution they're born into. They're growing up knowing they have family, a grandfather, uncle, aunt, cousins, who exist, but whom their parents won't let them know. As they get older, they'll ask, why can't we see grandpa? Why don't we know our cousins? How do parents explain that? They're experiencing the fallout from adult conflicts they had no part in creating. They're being deprived of relationships because their parents made choices to attack and distance from family. Several child psychologists who've analyzed this situation, speaking generally about family estrangement, not specifically about Harry and Meghan's children due to privacy concerns, note that children raised in isolation from extended family due to parent-driven estrangement often experience confusion about family relationships and why they exist but aren't accessible, anger at parents for depriving them of family, idealization of the unavailable family members, identity confusion about heritage and family history, difficulty trusting relationships if they've learned family members can simply disappear. Let's discuss what sources say about specific concerns that have emerged regarding Archie and Lilibet, because there are reportedly observable issues. According to sources who've had interaction with the family or been briefed on the situation. Social development concerns. Archie, now 5, reportedly shows signs of difficulty with peer interaction. He's described as shy, withdrawn, and uncomfortable in social situations with other children. While some shyness is normal at age 5, sources say his level of discomfort and difficulty forming friendships is notable. The controlled, limited peer interaction he's had, small groups of pre-screened children, supervised playdates, security presence, hasn't allowed him to develop normal social confidence. Questions about family. Both children have started asking questions about their extended family. Where's grandpa? Why don't we have cousins? These are normal questions, but they put Harry and Meghan in difficult position of either lying, giving age-inappropriate explanations about adult conflicts, or admitting they've chosen to keep the children from family. Attachment and anxiety. Sources describe both children as exhibiting signs of anxiety, particularly around separation from parents. This could be normal attachment behavior, but experts note that children without extended family support network sometimes develop more anxious attachment patterns because they have smaller circle of trusted adults. Identity confusion. As Archie gets older and becomes aware that he's Prince Archie and has grandfather who is king but has never met him or doesn't remember meeting him, this creates confusion. Who is he? What does his title mean? Why is he separate from the family connected to that title? Lack of stable community. The family's lifestyle, selling mansion, possibly moving, limited consistent peer group, security restrictions, means the children don't have stable community outside immediate family. Child development research shows community stability benefits children's emotional security. Now let's examine what Harry has reportedly been saying about his children and family relationships, because sources indicate his perspective has been shifting. According to people who've spoken with Harry in recent months, he's expressed several concerns. They should know their grandfather. Harry has reportedly told friends that he regrets his children don't know King Charles, particularly given Charles's cancer diagnosis. Harry remembers how important his own relationship with Queen Elizabeth was to him, and he sees his children being deprived of similar relationship with their grandfather. I want them to know their cousins. Harry has apparently expressed wish that Archie and Lilibet could have relationship with George, Charlotte, and Louis. He remembers how important William was to him growing up despite their age difference, and he recognizes his children are missing out on sibling-like cousin relationships. This isn't what I wanted. Sources say Harry has acknowledged that when he left royal life, he envisioned his children having relationships with his family, even if he and Meghan were living independently. He didn't anticipate complete estrangement and the impact on his kids. Meghan won't allow it. Several sources have indicated Harry has told people that Meghan is opposed to the children having contact with the royal family, that she views the family as toxic and dangerous, and that she's the primary obstacle to any reconciliation or family contact. I don't know how to fix this. Harry reportedly expresses feeling trapped between wanting his children to have family relationships and maintaining his marriage to Meghan, who opposes those relationships. These statements, if accurate, suggest Harry is recognizing that the isolation strategy hasn't benefited his children and may be harming them, but he feels unable or unwilling to take action to change the situation. Let's examine what King Charles has reportedly said about wanting to know his grandchildren, because his perspective is heartbreaking. Multiple sources have indicated that King Charles is deeply saddened by his lack of relationship with Archie and Lilibet. According to these sources, Charles has sent gifts and cards for birthdays and holidays, though he's unsure if the children actually receive them or if they're told who they're from. Charles has told close associates, "I'm dying and I don't know my own grandchildren. That's not how family should be." He's reportedly offered to travel to California, to meet anywhere Harry prefers, to do whatever necessary to have contact with Archie and Lilibet. He's willing to set aside all grievances just for the opportunity to be in their lives. Charles has expressed frustration that Harry claims to want his children to know their grandfather but won't facilitate that contact. If Harry genuinely wants it, Charles is willing, but Harry seems unable or unwilling to make it happen. One royal source described Charles as heartbroken. He's desperate to see those children before he dies. He feels he's losing time. He doesn't want to die a stranger to his grandchildren. This adds another dimension to the tragedy. Not just that children are deprived of knowing grandfather, but that grandfather who wants relationship with them is being kept away due to adult conflicts. Now let's discuss what William and Catherine reportedly think about the situation, because they have perspective both as the estranged family members and as parents themselves. According to sources close to William and Catherine, they believe Archie and Lilibet are victims of Harry and Meghan's decisions. The children did nothing wrong but are paying the price. William has reportedly told associates, "Those are my niece and nephew. I should know them. George, Charlotte, and Louis should know their cousins, but Harry has made that impossible." Catherine, as a mother, is described as particularly saddened by the situation. She understands the importance of cousin relationships and thinks it's tragic that 5 children who share heritage and could support each other are being kept apart. However, William and Catherine are firm that reconciliation can't happen unless Harry and Meghan take responsibility for the damage they've caused. William won't pretend the past didn't happen just to gain access to the children. There's also reportedly discussion about what happens when the children are older. Will Archie and Lilibet, as teenagers or adults, seek out relationships with their royal family? Will they resent their parents for depriving them of family? William and Catherine apparently believe the children will eventually want those relationships regardless of what Harry and Meghan want. Let's examine what could be done to address this situation and whether there are realistic paths forward, because the status quo is harmful to the children. Possible interventions that child welfare experts might suggest. Option 1. Limited family contact despite parental conflict. Even when adult family members are in conflict, supervised contact can sometimes be arranged that allows children to have relationships with extended family. Charles could see his grandchildren with specific boundaries. No discussion of adult conflicts, supervised visits, limited duration initially. This requires Harry and Meghan agreeing it's in children's best interest, which Meghan reportedly opposes. Option 2. Family therapy. A family therapist could work with Harry, Meghan, Charles, and William to find ways for children to have family relationships despite adult tensions. However, this requires all parties willing to participate, which seems unlikely given current dynamics. Option 3. Harry asserts children's right to family. Harry could make decision that regardless of his marital situation or conflict with Meghan, his children have right to know their grandfather and their family. He could facilitate contact even if Meghan objects. This would likely cause marital conflict, but would prioritize children's needs. Option 4, wait until children are old enough to decide. Some parents in estrangement situations wait until children are teenagers and can make their own choices about family contact. However, this means years more of isolation during critical developmental period. Option 5, reconciliation between adults. If Harry and Meghan reconciled with Charles and William, children would naturally have family relationships. But given current state of adult relationships, this seems distant prospect. The reality is that none of these options can be implemented without Harry choosing to prioritize his children's family relationships over either Meghan's preferences or his own grievances with his family. And so far, he hasn't done that. Now, let's discuss what happens to these children as they grow older and become more aware of their situation because the current dynamics aren't sustainable. As Archie approaches school age, 5 years old, and becomes more socially aware, he'll increasingly understand he's different from other children, that he has prince title, that his grandfather is king. He'll ask more complex questions about why they don't see grandfather, why they don't know cousins. He'll potentially see photos or news coverage of his cousins and wonder why he can't know them. He may experience confusion at school if other children ask about his royal family or see news coverage. As both children enter middle childhood, ages 7 to 12, they'll develop stronger opinions about the situation and may express anger or resentment about being kept from family. They'll understand more about the adult conflicts and may feel caught in the middle or blamed. They'll compare themselves to their cousins George, Charlotte, and Louis, who have active royal roles and wonder why their lives are different. They may idealize the family they don't know, imagining them as perfect and wonderful while resenting their parents for the separation. As they enter adolescence and young adulthood, they may actively seek out relationships with royal family regardless of parents' wishes. They may express anger at Harry and Meghan for depriving them of family and heritage. They may choose to move to UK and pursue relationships with their grandfather's family. They may struggle with identity issues around being royal, but not raised within royal context. Child development experts note that children raised in situations of parent-driven family estrangement often report feeling resentful toward the parent who created the estrangement once they're old enough to understand what they lost. Let's examine what this situation tells us about Harry's judgment and priorities because his children's well-being should be paramount. Harry left royal family claiming he wanted to protect his family, protect them from media intrusion, from institutional constraints, from racism and toxicity, he alleged. But in protecting them from things he perceived as harmful, he's deprived them of things that are demonstrably beneficial: relationship with grandfather who loves them, connection to cousins who share their unique heritage, understanding of their identity and history. Harry's own childhood, despite its difficulties, included close relationship with Queen Elizabeth, who provided stability and love during difficult times. He's denying his children equivalent relationship with their grandfather, King Charles. Harry grew up with support system of extended family. Even when his parents' marriage fell apart and his mother died, he had family around him. His children have much smaller, more fragile support system. Harry has spoken publicly about the importance of mental health and emotional well-being, yet he's creating family dynamic that child psychologists would identify as a risk factor for emotional and developmental problems. The question is whether Harry genuinely believes the isolation is best for his children, whether he's unable to overcome Meghan's opposition to family contact, or whether his own grievances and pride are more important to him than his children's needs. None of those options reflects well on his judgment or priorities as a father. So here's where we stand tonight. Archie, 5 years old, and Lilibet, 3 years old, are growing up almost entirely isolated from their extended family, with no real relationship with their grandfather, King Charles, no contact with Uncle William or Aunt Catherine, and no connection to their cousins George, Charlotte, and Louis. Sources say Harry has been expressing concerns about his children's well-being and development, recognizing the isolation may be harming them. He reportedly wants them to have family relationships, but feels unable to make it happen given Meghan's opposition and his own unresolved conflicts. King Charles is desperate to know his grandchildren before he dies, but is being kept away due to the estrangement. Child development experts note that children raised in isolation from extended family due to parent driven estrangement often experience identity confusion, social difficulties, and eventual resentment toward the parents who created the situation. As Archie and Lilibet grow older, they'll increasingly understand what they're missing and will likely want relationships with their royal family, regardless of their parents' wishes. This is tragedy created by adult conflicts that innocent children are paying for, and Harry, as their father, has the power to change this situation, but so far has chosen not to. Now I turn it over to you. What should Harry do? Type, put kids first if you think Harry should prioritize his children's family relationships over other considerations. Type Meghan's fault if you believe Meghan is the primary obstacle and Harry needs to stand up to her. Type they're fine if you think concerns about the children's isolation are overblown. If you believe children's well being should be paramount, that depriving children of loving grandparents and cousins is harmful, and that Harry needs to put his children's needs above his grievances or his marriage, smash that like button. Subscribe and hit the notification bell because these children are growing up. Every year they don't know their grandfather is a year lost that can't be recovered. Every childhood experience without cousins is an experience they'll never have. And someday they'll be old enough to understand what they missed and why, and they'll hold their parents accountable for these choices. I'm George Will. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next analysis.